Yes, go live. We're live. Hello, everyone. My name is Bronte Hamilton. I am the host today of the Confidence Connection show, which is a part of the wider Her Story Circle show run by Getrude, who could not be here today. Unfortunately, her daughter has gone into labor, which is super exciting. So she's dealing with that, and they're hosting today. So this is our first episode, which I'm so excited about. So as I said, my name's Bronte. I'm a confidence coach, and I'm here as a host of the Confidence Connection, where we interview inspiring women each week who share their journeys of building confidence, overcoming obstacles, stepping outside their comfort zone, and how they've built their confidence, and sharing with you top tips around that and what they do. So this week we have two amazing guests. We have Patricia Love and Kate Sheng, and they are going to share their stories with you. So first up, we have Patricia Love. So she is an author of the best-selling book, Seen and Unheard. She's a confidence and woman empowerment coach, a practitioner of neuro-linguistic NLP, an emotional freedom technique, or EFT. She combines these practices along with her own personal experience in overcoming real-life challenges and trauma. And she spent the last 2 decades inspiring and empowering women and girls of all ages to be brave with their story and use their voice. Patricia grew up feeling silent, understood, to use those experiences, fuel her inner fire, and make a positive difference in the world around her. She's an advocate for women's voices through her Abilities mission. So how amazing it sounds. Welcome on, Patricia.
Hi, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
And
I think we have a little delay.
Oh, what? It's a second. Yeah, but we're here. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Right. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Do you want to introduce yourself and your background briefly and tell everyone what you're all about?
Absolutely. Well, first off, again, thanks for having me. I've had an interesting life. I've lived a long life, and interesting enough, in my bio, of course, I have mentored and helped women empower themselves over many decades, actually more than 2 decades. But within that, you know, as coaches, we all have our own perils, our own traumas, our own obstacles, right? So to let the audience know, about 13 years ago, I basically came to a head where I was actually on the floor and broken because of all my traumas and different things that I actually stuffed away into what I call my suitcase. And, you know, because as strong women, we have a tendency to just keep on going, keep on trucking, suck it up and just move forward. And that's what I did. I just put all my feelings into my suitcase and to ignore them. But because of doing that, I actually sabotaged my life over and over again, wondering why I was always having, getting to a certain point of success and a certain point in my life and a certain point in relationships, and then I would just blow them all up. So it was very interesting. So about 13 years ago, I really had to settle in and figure out what the heck I was doing. I had to really get down and deep and really get honest and truthful with myself, because I was coaching people and women. I also needed to grow myself. So I did that. What I did is I just really went all in, learned everything I could, because I couldn't keep on doing what I was doing, because I was doing the same thing over and over. and getting the same results, which is what a lot of us do. So I interrupted my own behaviors so that I could move forward and now be, even more successful than I was, because I was successful, but I just kept beating my head up and I just couldn't get past certain ceilings. I couldn't get, I was having trouble with relationships. And so that's basically what my peril and my obstacles were. But now I've learned to live and grow each day, because as coaches, or as a coach, we are constantly growing too, every single day. And I'm constantly building my own confidence, even though I teach it every day and help others. I'm just constantly learning. I like to call myself imperfectly perfect, but I really turned my mess into my message.
That is brilliant. I love that. And you're so right about, if you keep doing the same thing every day, you're going to keep getting the same results. So I'm glad and that we're here to grow every day, and no one's finished growing and learning. And I'm sure you're the same, where you learning from your students too. It's like when we're open to receiving and to learning and growing, it becomes like a great co-op of you're teaching and they're learning from you, but you're also learning from them as well. So
well, and that's what I really learned. That's what I really learned, was to open myself up and be more vulnerable, listen to my feelings. That's what really allowed me to grow and become the person I am today, because we all go through life. Sometimes we do well, we're successful, but in the long run, we're really, our inside is not peaceful. And so I wanted to make sure that I was peaceful, not only on the inside or on the outside too. So they both reflected to get together. So it's really important to open that up, because you see successful women out there, but a lot of times they're very unhappy women because they can't do certain things, or their personal life just sucks something.
Yeah. We definitely put on this success shell.
Yeah.
Everything's great, but not so great. So
yeah, it's called wearing a mask, which I wore a mask for years.
Yeah. So do you want to take us back to that moment years ago where you were feeling stuck, like you had no purpose or potential, and how you decided to take your power back and work on yourself and start building your confidence?
Yeah, well, it was actually that particular night. It was actually September of 2009. It was, like I said, I was 56, and you'd think I would, at a certain point in life that you would have it all together, right? Well, I was just at the bottom of the barrel, basically. I was actually drinking too much. My husband had left. My mother had passed away. The finances were coming in, but I was also spending money because I just didn't know how to deal with life. And it got to the point where just everything fell apart. And at that moment, there was this, believe it or not, there was this huge energy, which I like to feel came from the universe, right? Okay. And there was just something inside me, that little teeny voice, that inner voice that you have to listen to, because so many of us do not listen to it, that said, you've got to keep going. You don't give up. You got to keep going. People are expecting you to do. You've got to teach. You got to do these things. And 5 words actually came to my mind. And I actually wrote them down. I did not know at the time what they were going to mean to me, but the 5 words were basically acknowledgement, forgiveness, mindset, accountability, and perseverance. And those 5 words now I live by every single day, pursuing life. And also it has become my message to the people that I coach, and I call it my 5 diamonds. But it's something that I look at every single day. What do I have to acknowledge? Who do I have to forgive? How is my mindset? How is my accountability? What did I do? Did I do good today? And am I going to just keep on going? What are you going to do to persevere today? So it's because of that one day I said, I'm going to take my power back, because I was giving everybody else my power, and they were like stealing it from me, and I was allowing it. And I really had to say, no more. I'm going to take my power back, and I'm going to move forward. And that's when the day I empowered myself and moved forward in my life. And I haven't looked back since. Now, there's been a few tough days, don't get me wrong, but it's the whole idea that I just keep on going every single day. And I use these 5 words all the time.
Wow. I've got like full body goosebumps. It's so powerful. And
Yeah,
I love that
it
listening
was
to like
powerful,
an inner
Bronte.
voice.
Yeah, it was. I just want to say it was. I'm a universe person. I'm not a godly person, but
Yeah.
this was so powerful and so much energy that came to me, and something inside me told me to write those words down. You can't neglect that. You can't negate it. And so something was telling me, get your act together, girl.
I love that. That's so cool. I love that you have such a clear defining moment and those words have become your message and what you teach to people, help others. That's so cool. And I'm glad that you did write them down, because there's so many times where people would just pass that off and keep
Yeah,
going with life. And,
yeah.
where would you be today if you hadn't written those words down and
It,
listened to
it,
that?
it- exactly. And I've always been a little bit of intuitive, but since that time,
Yeah.
I've really been consciously and intentionally listening to myself and my gut and my intuition, because that is usually always
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. That's so cool. So what would you say your daily habits and routines, rituals are that help you grow and learn daily, so that you're always constantly learning?
Yeah, well, every single day, and before anything, even right before this, I do a grounding, a 10-minute grounding. It just grounds me every single morning, because it's so easy to be on that hamster wheel, right? And just get up and like got to rock and roll. And I've intentionally said, no, I'm going to take 10 minutes to ground myself. And I'm also going to, so that's one of the things I do. I do that in the morning and at night, but also at nighttime, I take these 5 words that I talked about. I go over each one of those, because over the first part of it, that took me several months to go through all of these acknowledgments that I had to, all my truths. But now I can do them daily. So it's a lot easier and a lot quicker. And so I do that. And then I just look at life much differently. When I come up against things, I try to change my perspective. I have a very favorite quote from Wayne Dyer, and it's if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And whenever I come up against an obstacle, I say that to myself. Okay, Patricia, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. How can you look at this differently? How can you approach it differently? So that I'm much calmer and I don't have the expectations and the such. But those are the 2 things that I really do that gives me clarity. So what I would tell the your audience here is stop and listen. Stop and just pause. Take 2 minutes to get off the hamster wheel, because you will start to really enjoy it once you get off that hamster wheel, because you become more clear and more focused in your life.
Yeah, that's so cool. And so what's involved with the grounding? Can you tell people more about that?
Well, I don't like to call it meditation, because meditation puts a little spin on it of like, oh my God, I need to be a monk or a yoga person, or I need to, I need to put the robes on, you know, and and people think I can't sit that long and such. I just found a couple meditations, or what I call quietations, which is really just quieting my mind a lot of times. And it's but I found a couple on YouTube and different things that they're just grounding, short grounding ones that like and enjoy, and you can find them on YouTube. But it's grounding yourself is just taking a few minutes to be settling in. Now, if you want to have somebody talk to you, also help you ground to get started, you can do that. But I truly like to just take a few minutes and just pretend I'm grounding and pretend I am connecting to the earth and connecting to everything. So everything else goes out of my mind, and I can be really focused, like focused on what we're doing here, focused on my life, focused on my journey. And it's really, take 2 minutes. I say 2 minutes, try it, and just all social media down, phones down, and just really just sit by yourself and don't do anything. At first, it will be very awkward. Okay. But the more you do it, the more you're going to like it. And you're really going to become more focused by grounding yourself. It's just really important to really ground you are, because life is just so much of monkey chatter, social media, that, that you feel like you're overwhelmed. This helps you stop from
Yeah.
being so overwhelmed.
Yeah. And brings you back to the present.
Brings you back to the present.
You're worried
Absolutely.
about the
It brings you into the present.
Yeah, this is great. So you're an author, you've got a published book, which is awesome. So how did you know you wanted to be an author and what you wanted to write about? How did that all come about?
Well, Seen and Unheard is a memoir. It's about my life and my traumas and my obstacles and what I went through. But it's stories where I'm finding that my readers are, resonating with them, because it could be their uh, their partner or daughter or friend or even themselves that some of these stories resonate with. And because women have been so conditioned over the years to believe that they are less qualified and less than, that this book really helps support the reader and helps them reflect on their lives and their own stories. And it helps them ignite their own fire to help make changes in their own lives if they feel necessary. But it really helps them reflect on it. But it's a memoir of my life, which the way I wrote it really helps create other people to think more about their lives, because there's questions at each end of each of the chapters end. And I became a writer because I've always kind of been a writer. I've written poems and written lyrics and different things like that. But, I really wasn't, I had that not good enough thing going on. Like a lot of women do. We can be very strong and outwardly and confident. And then we sit by ourselves, we're like, oh, what am I thinking? I can't do that. And then I'd made really made some decisions that I've been wanting to do this. I'm going to do it. And I just did it. So just really starting and just taking little baby steps. And I really enjoy it. And now I've not only written the book, I'm getting published in magazines too with articles. So I'm very happy and to see where this is going also. So life is full of just opportunities right now. And ever since I really changed my life, the opportunities seem to come. The universe has opened up the doors.
I love that. I love this open to receiving and just seeing what happens. But that's so cool. Your book sounds really interesting. I might have to check that out for myself. And so also tell us briefly about your Healing Hoodies mission. That sounds interesting.
Oh, yes. Well, when I was young, I never was motivated. I came from there was a lot of abandonment issues from my mom and my dad, because my mom was an alcoholic and my dad was never there. And so I had a lot of abandonment things and no motivation, no inspiration. And so a few years back, I wanted to start something that really motivated young girls to help them move forward. And so, all young girls and all people like hoodies, right? So I wanted to really put a motivation on the front and on the back. So like on the front, it might say, I can. And on the back, it might say, you can too. So I look at it as a sign from the universe, because for me, if I were to be thinking about something and I see somebody has a sweatshirt on the back of it that says, you can too, then I look at that as signs. And I think a lot of people look at things as signs, when they see something like the 111s or the whatever it might be. And if it just helps one person feel motivated that they can do something, because and I have some different sayings, and all those proceeds, by the way, all the net proceeds go towards helping men and women and young girls.
That's so powerful. I love that idea. And you're so right. When you see things out there, if you saw that message just down the street, you can do it. Yeah.
And you just think it's just for you. So that's my whole goal is that on the front you say I can and you can too, or I'm positive and you stay positive, whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now, just to wrap things up, tell us, how do you help others build their confidence?
Oh my gosh. Confidence it's an interesting thing, and we build confidence every single day by doing the little teeny things. And with my coaching, especially when I'm starting out, they're small, because confidence is actually built through celebration in some ways, feeling good about yourself. And a lot of times there's self-care too, but celebrating, like for instance, we always think that, we feel good when, say, you win a medal or you win, you get honored for something. Well, we don't always get that. And we don't always have the friends around us at all times to do that, to really give us kudos. So we have to learn to build our own confidence little by little. And I always tell people, create some lists and start doing some lists where you can actually check them off. And when you get done with checking that off, congratulate yourself. Say, good job, I just did that. And then, and it really gives you a feeling of, accomplishment. And this is what confidence is feeling accomplished, the feeling like you can do anything. But sometimes we have to learn that we have to celebrate ourselves also, and not wait for somebody else to give us the big kudos or the high five, because we might be waiting too long. So it's not ego driven. It's just building your own confidence.
Yeah.
And I suggest for a good, just one idea is people forget their accomplishments is when you start having any kind of accomplishments in anything, doing something for the day that you got done, write it down in a post note, stick it in a jar. And then when you're feeling down, pull it out and go, oh, you did do that. Because how many times have you said, I forgot I did that. I forgot I was good at that. I forgot I did that. There's so much of that. So we start very small and build up from there. And it slowly builds people's confidence back where they can step out of their comfort zone and start getting comfortable with getting uncomfortable.
That is so, I love the idea of that jar. That I'm going to have to start doing that.
It's
but
great.
I definitely love the celebrating every win. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the same, like with my to-do list always start with just like, make the bed, do the dishes, like something simple that I can tick off so I can feel like I'm having a win straight away. So I think, we can make to-do lists, and if they get too long or whatever, it's like, you just get too overwhelmed. You're like, I can never do all that. So I'm the same. Like I love starting a to-do list with something I can tick off straight away. So I can feel like I'm getting off to a win straight away.
And do a little jig, do a little celebration. I usually, when I get things done, I'm like, woohoo, yoo-hoo, So it's a feeling of doing it, not just checking it up, but doing like, yes, I got that done today. I feel good.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Well, thank you so much for sharing a bit about your journey and what you do. So we're going to bring on Kate next, but stick around, Patricia, because we're going to do a quick fire round at the very end. So thank you so much for sharing, and I'll see you after we've talked to Kate. Hello, Kate.
Hi.
So good. Hi. So good to have you on. So Kate is from the UK. She's I can never say Reiki master and equine body worker. She's referred to as a precious soul, shining a light to the spiritually curious. She's a visionary for the Bodhi Tree School for Spiritual Growth, which is unique by having a structured pillar. She's designed her own 48 card called Matshe Reset. As well as running her own energy healing practice on humans, she has now expanded to horses. Kate is known for holding women's circles, offering psychic readings and soul guidance. It sounds like you do a lot. That's awesome. So welcome, Kate.
It definitely listed it like that. Oh my God.
So do you want to introduce yourself and your background briefly?
Yeah, okay. So I'll do a little bit of my background briefly. So hi from the UK, and my story, it kind of all started properly back in 2015 when I am a mom to 2 young children. And in 2015, my youngest was 18 months old and I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy. Now, Bell's palsy is when you have a paralysis to the side of the face. It looks like that you've had a stroke. Some people thought that I did have a stroke, but it wasn't a stroke. And so the medics have basically said to me, if you don't take these tablets within 12 hours, there's a high risk that you will not recover completely. Oh, and you also have to stop breastfeeding your baby as well. So I was like, okay, completely thrown into fear, took the tablets because, of course, I was just so vulnerable, really vulnerable. I had no time to research or do any sort of work or what this Bell's palsy was all about. And I stopped breastfeeding my baby, but then it threw me into the depths of depression. It was like nothing I've ever experienced before. But also along with that, I was married at the time, and I also realized I was actually in a marriage I didn't want to be in. So I was one of the lucky ones that I had recovered from Bell's palsy within a month. And that was all down to having a complete overhaul with my mindset completely and seeking out acupuncture. And on top of the lady who was doing the acupuncture, was also giving me Reiki. That's how the Reiki started. So then I started learning how to do Reiki. And I remember walking into my first Reiki class and I said to the teacher, when females get together, we all have that chat and figure out, who's who and doing what and married, single, you know what I mean? So we were all having that chat and I was like, I'm never going to leave my husband. I'm not particularly happy, but I'm never going to leave him. By the end of the training, I was off. So that was all down to just really being true to yourself. My whole life, I've had a very spiritual background. My aunt and uncle, they run a spiritualist church. I've had all sorts of experiences from a very young age, and it was being true to me. And, relating back to the previous conversation, that intuition and being true to yourself is key, because at the end of the day, we're born with ourselves and we leave with ourselves, and we have to answer to ourselves no matter how hard it can. Situations can be really tough. I've been in a narcissist relationship which completely floored me with my confidence, my self-worth, my value of being here. So it's picking up from that and building your confidence back up to go on, to carry on confidently.
Wow, that's a lot. That's so cool. I love that in class you were transformed so much. No wonder you wanted to go yourself. So do you want to explain to people who don't know what Reiki is, just what it is and a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. If no one has never heard about Reiki before, it's not a religion. You don't have to have any belief mindsets at all. All you have to do is just have an open heart and a willingness to try. It's energy work more than anything. So the best way of describing energy work is, imagine yourself that you're standing in a queue and you're focusing on moving forward in the queue, and you just got this feeling that someone behind you is a bit too close. Yeah, and you turn around and that person is kind of like in your space, that little bit too close to you. Like, oh, hang on a second, you're in my space here. That's your energy. So someone's invading your energy or been a bit too close to you. So that's what energy work is. What Reiki is, it's just a modality that is just releasing stress and built up tension within your body. There's whole lots of different levels on that, which I'm not going to go into now because the conversation could go on for ages. But the very basis of Reiki is just releasing stress and aiding, facilitating relaxation, in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great. Great, brief explanation. So, and you said you're very spiritual. So what does it mean to you to be spiritual, and how has being spiritual helped you on your journey and through life?
So again, spiritual isn't a religion at all. There's different schools of it. For me personally, being spiritual is knowing that there is something far greater than us, the universe. People give it different names. Source, some people call it God. There are a whole lot of different words for whatever this greater, bigger energy is. And for me, it's how we gain access to that energy, to work with it, to better ourselves, to better our lives, to be able to cope as well and move on with life. And how it's helped with me is just trusting. Is just really trusting that there is this energy for healing, for confidence work as well. Is like being true to you, is having that act of gratitude. You're raising your vibration, because if you have a scenario in your mind that if you can't make a decision, you have a decision that you want to decide a yes or a no about, the easiest way to do that is sit with it in a quiet place. And if it feels good and it feels light, then it's right. If that situation feels heavy and it feels cloggy and it makes you feel go, ugh, then whatever it is isn't right for you right now. And that's your intuition. That is connecting to your higher self. That's telling you what is right and wrong and the what's way to move forward.
That's so cool. I love that. You're so right about listening to whether something just genuinely feels good or bad in the moment, because we can feel that. It's just whether or not we choose to listen to it or ignore it.
Exactly, and that's the thing as well, isn't it? Is do we really listen? How many people really listen to ourselves as well? And that's when the ego cuts in. That's when that little voice chimes in and says, "Are you really sure you want to do that? Are you good enough to do that? Are you sure you want to go ahead and do that?" And then it's the monkey mind that's going from tree to tree. That's then saying, well, if I do this and I can do that, then I can go and do that. Oh, but no, I'm going to keep you safe and secure and keep you exactly where you are, because you're comfortable where you are right now, aren't you? And you don't want to go and make any risks and move off into another level. But if you step lightly and then you move a little bit out your comfort zone, guess what? You're in a new comfort zone, aren't you? So you surrounded yourself to a new comfort zone. You get used to that little comfort zone. Something else comes into your life. You're like, no, I can't do that. It's too scary. Oh, but hang on a second. I have done something. If I move out my comfort zone again, you create another new comfort zone, and that's how you grow and develop.
Yeah. Taking the action the habit instead of overthinking about it. And so it says that you're a visionary for the Bodhi Tree School for Spiritual Growth. So do you want to tell us more about that and all about?
The Bodhi Tree School for Spiritual Growth. Love it, love it, love it. So the Bodhi Tree School for Spiritual Growth, first of all, the Bodhi Tree is actually classed as a tree of awakening. And the awakening is being aware of something greater, like the universe, law of manifestation, law of attraction, the yellow wave. These are all words that people have heard about because you can read them, you can see them so much in media these days. And if you haven't, where you been? So the Bodhi Tree School for Spiritual Growth is exactly that. It's a place for people who are spiritually curious. And by spiritually curious, it means that they are beginning to know there's something far greater, and there's an intuition, there's an inner knowing, there's a feminine energy that's coming. And what I mean by feminine energy is that we feel when we're in those moments, we're not rushing around like headless chicken doing work and shopping and chores, that there's something within us that is ancestral, that there's a power within us, that when we are with like-minded females, we just feel really connected and really good, and we can't explain it. We just know it's there. So with the Bodhi tree, I wanted to create a place where people could come and they wouldn't feel daft in asking questions. They would be with like-minded. And like you mentioned before, it has 3 pillars. So the first pillar is the self-study, which is exactly that. So, for example, what the self-study topics are, there's one about chakras, which are your energy centers. So what are they? How do you know they're there? How to work with them? Then there's crystals. Why are we attracted to them? What on earth do we do with them? They look really pretty, but what next with them? Then there's the meditation. So the meditation is how to get it to work for you and how it fits into your life. And so it's not one thing that fits for all. There's so many different types, which is quite an eye-opening. And then there's the self-healing as well. Sometimes people don't feel ready to seek out somebody to help them on the journey to begin to heal. There is so much trauma and past stories and events that happened that sometimes by just taking that really small step, by looking at how you can do self-healing for yourself, then that will grow your confidence to then, maybe if you wanted to then find somebody to work with to help you carry on with the self-healing. The second pillar is the soul guidance, which is one-to-one work with me. It's doing readings, it's doing distance healing, it's doing soul retrievals. It's having that extra bit of injection boost of really connecting with yourself and searching for something a little bit more deeper. And then the third pillar is learning how to. So at the moment, this is where I'm collaborating with people who are doing online courses that I know who are the real deals. So at the moment, it's learning how to do Reiki, it's learning how to do access bars, and it's bringing other teachers in as well, which is all fully supported within a private group and connection with me pretty much whenever I'm awake. And it's a growing community. It's so people don't feel alone. I just did an event recently, and the amount of people that said, I didn't even realize this existed. I mean, that just blew my mind. You know, this is normal for me. It really is. It's everyday life. I live it every single day, me and my children. And for people to say, I didn't know it existed, it just gives me the extra push to let everyone know that Bodhi tree's there. It's there waiting for you to help you.
Wow, that's so cool. So I guess that leads on to how do you help others build their confidence? So that all comes through the work with your
To help build confidence. Yeah, sure. The connection was a bit funny then. So I think once you get to know who you are, what your values are, what's important to you, when you make that reconnection with yourself, and it's a reconnection because we're born already having that connection, but then as we grow up through children, we lose that. We go to school and it's taken away from us. It's not believed, it's not listened to, it's not held. So then as we grow up, we go through adolescence, we have peers around us, then we go into society. So it is a reconnection because it's there within us. And once we start having that reconnection within us, we have that understanding. And once we understand ourselves, how we work as a person, as an individual, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what things you struggle with, what makes you feel vulnerable, having these questions that you can safely talk about. That's why I do the women's circles, because it creates a safety place for people just to talk openly and safely, is really important. And I think then that just builds, I've seen it so many times within circles, that people then just walk away and they go, I feel lighter. It's got to feel good, hasn't it?
Yeah, great circle. So what advice would you give to women who are stuck, maybe like you, in a narcissistic relationship, or just in any way where they feel like there is that whisper that they need to make a change, but like you before that Reiki session, they're like, I'm not going to make the change because this is what I know is comfort zone.
Yeah. So people who feel stuck. So people who feel stuck in whatever situation, there's not one answer that can fit that, because each situation is so unique. Is really decide what it is that you truly want safely, because sometimes it involves other people, and some situations can be quite volatile. So it's really taking it slowly and really deciding what it is that you want. You know, who is the person that you want to be? Who is the role model that you want to become?
Yeah, that's true. Always gotta take it safely. And so what do you do to work on your mental health and build your confidence as you were going on your journey?
What do I do to build up my confidence? So I have, going back previously, morning routine is sacred to me. And if that's the time for me, I think by taking that self-care time, and as women, we are queens at making excuses. We really are. There's not enough time, you know. But for me, by having that morning routine, which looks like waking up, and I do yoga in the morning, every single morning. And it's just a simple sun salutation, just to wake my body and just to stretch and to feel good. And then I drink water with lemon first thing in the morning, because that just refreshes the system. And just really not, I go to the day doesn't come to me, is the best way of putting it. I don't check my messages first thing in the morning. You know, they can wait until I'm ready. And when I'm ready, then I will look up the emails and the messages that I've been pinging, and turn the notifications off. You don't need to have the notifications pinging all the time.
Yeah. I love it. I'm going to write that down. Day doesn't go to me. That is so powerful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to bring Patricia back on, and we're going to do a quick fire round of questions. Thank you. Right. Bring back Patricia. Right, let's just change this so we can see each other better. Change. Okay. So I will ask a question, and then both of you can answer. So we'll go, Kate can answer first, and then Patricia, because I should see you on the screen. So Kate, quickly, what does confidence mean to you?
Power.
Peace.
Right. Patricia, what does confidence mean to you?
It actually means peace. I feel good about
Those
myself.
I like it. Yeah, great. Kate, how do you deal with fear?
I missed that one. Say that again.
How do you deal?
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that one. Did you hear that one?
No.
How do you deal with?
Fear?
Fear. How do you deal with fear?
Oh, how do I deal with fear? How do I deal with fear? How do I deal with fear? I deal with fear by just for today. I have the mantra, just for today. Just for today, I am not going to worry. Just for today, I am not going to succumb to the fear. Just for today. And if that's too much, break it down to just to this morning.
Yeah.
Pretty much similar. I'm not
Patricia.
When it comes to fear, I a lot of times just look it straight in the eye and laugh. That's kind of the main thing, and say, because I'm going to turn that fear into excitement, because a lot of times fear is excitement too. So I just push through it because I like being uncomfortable.
Fear is the sign for change as well, isn't it? If you're fearful, that means something's changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Kate, what's your favorite book? In terms of
my favorite book. Do you know what? I used to never be able to understand why people have more than one book on the go, but I think I have 3 on the go at the moment. So I think my favorite one that I'm going to at the moment is Magical Mediumship.
Interesting. And what's that about?
It's mediumship with a twist, I would say, which is right up my street, because I don't fit into a box when it comes down to psychic work. It is what it is, and what it is great, and it's fab.
Yeah. Great. And Patricia, what's your favorite book?
Well, besides my own, The Seen and Unheard, I actually have several books that I really love. I'm very similar to you, Kate. I don't like to lock myself in, but one of the ones that I go back to a lot is several of the Wayne Dyer books, and also one called by Assad, which is The Answer, which I like because it's more of a universe and things. I'm really into the spiritual and universe and the mind. I love reading about the mind all the time.
Yeah, great. Good ones to look up. And similar, do you have a favorite podcast or YouTube show, Kate? And the people that don't like to read.
That's put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Favorite, yes. Favorite podcast. Hey, come on, give me a go. Look, it's 11:15 at night time here. Give me a break. It's late. It's past my bedtime. Yes, my favorite podcast is Jim Fortin. He is awesome.
Yeah.
Love you, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go along with
Patricia?
Kate on that one. I have to go along with Kate on that one. That's one of my favorite podcasts too. I mean, I have several that I listen to, but that's probably one of my top ones.
Woohoo!
I haven't even heard it. I've just written that down because I haven't even listened to it. So if you both love it, then I'm going to have to go find
That's good. That's good. I get his emails, his podcast. I get everything.
Okay, great. I'm signing up. Okay, Kate, how can people find you and what's the best platform to connect with you on?
Yeah, best place either on my website is www.bodhitreessg or connect on me on Facebook, the Bodhi Tree. You'll be able to find me on there. We've got the group there as well, which is private, where we have themes of different topics, anything to do with the Bodhi Tree and spiritual growth.
Great. And you, Patricia?
The best places are my website, also patricialove.com, which is pretty simple. Also on Facebook, you can reach me at Patricia Love. They call me the Rah Coach. And also on Instagram, Coach Patricia Love. So pretty easy to find if you Google Patricia Love.
Great. That's pretty easy. All right. And then just quickly, what's one tip to someone who's feeling stuck or wanting to build their confidence? Kate.
I mean, so it was feeling what? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Like one simple tip or something that's memorable to someone that's feeling stuck or wanting to build their confidence. Any favorite
I would say to write down where attention goes, energy flows.
Very good. And you, Patricia?
I'm going to say to pause, to stop and pause and listen to your inner voice.
Oh, I like that. Very deep. Okay, and then to wrap things up, Kate, have you got any final words for the listeners?
Any final words? I would say that there are many, many ways to build your confidence, but there's one thing that links everything all together, and that is your intuition. That is your inner knowing. And as soon as you tap into that, it is like magic happens. It really is. And it can be scary. It can be overwhelming. And that's only because it's something new, because it is your true self as well. And there are plenty, apart from me and Patricia, of people out there that can help you and guide you. No one's going to do it for you because it has to come from within. But there are plenty of people who will guide you. And the person that you know is right for you, it just feels right. And when it feels right, it feels light.
That's great. And you, Patricia, any final words?
Yes. Like I mentioned my quote earlier from Wayne Dyer, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I would really love it if people would look at things differently, especially change. Make change your friend, because without change, there are no new beginnings. And so if you start embracing the change and making it your friend, you're going to start feeling more comfortable and more confident a little bit, but embrace it rather than trying to oh my God, I can't stand change. That's what happens. So just really change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change.
Great. That's brilliant. Well, thank you both for joining me and coming on here and taking an hour out of your day to share with everyone. So that is our first episode done. Yay, we survived. There's slight delays with the streaming, but thank you both so much for being here. And Kate, your bed, and Patricia, the rest of your afternoon. And everyone who tuned in to watch, and we'll see you all next Monday for the next episode. So thanks everyone.
Thank you, everybody. I'll definitely connect with everybody. Bye.